Hello YouTube, Woody Butter here, and we are playing Skyrim for a bit because I wanted to do a special video on the conspiracies, the bug jar conspiracies specifically. Now, Rooster Teeth uploaded a video a couple of days ago about these bug conspiracies, but I didn't think that it really covered all of the amazing bases. It covered one of the least interesting, in my opinion, and there's a couple of really big ones that all started on a thread on Reddit, a link to which is in the description. Now, if you've been Skyrim for long, then you'll have noticed bugs in jars, hopefully. And if you're very intuitive, you'd have noticed that they had runes on the bottom of the lid. Now, a Reddit user called Scrayton aimed to translate those runes, and although they weren't perfect, according to the community, he did inspire people to really come up with theories and research the lore of the Elder Scrolls series, and that's just amazing. I wanted to cover two of the biggest ones that were brought up. Firstly, we have T-Nod. I hope that that's right. And he aimed to translate the runes fully using proper translations and stuff. And he got it as close as possible as he could. And it's quite interesting. And it revealed quite a few very interesting things. And then he made a theory in relation to the Thalmor from those findings. So we'll go into his first, and then we'll cover another one, which involves a lot more work. I don't do the translations any justice in this video. I just give a brief outline. So I really implore you to check out the entire thread, look at the big posts, the really big amounts of research that people have done, because it's amazing, honestly. But let's jump straight into the locations and the translations of these few buggies. First up, we've got the bee in a jar, and I'll let you know now. I do faff about with inventories and stuff because I'm not organised, you know. You know me by now. Okay. Also, the runes that I tilt the jar in, probably not the right way up. Anyway, the bee is translated as Thun, which is Thurasaz, Thorn or Giant, which is a force of destruction, and then Hagalaz, which is hail, control crisis leading to completion or natural disaster or catastrophe, and then Nauthis, which is need and train to freedom. Now we see Nauthis quite a lot throughout this, and T-Nod kind of recognised it as integral and a big part of the theory overall. Quick overview of the location of the bee. The Golden Glow Estate, second floor, which is in the master bedroom. Don't kill everyone like I did, it's a bit rude. Next up is the butterfly, a much more delicate creature, which is interesting when you find out the actual translation of the runes. And I think that it has some significance, though T-Nod didn't actually make any reference to that. Yeah, just my idea. It looks a bit like pig. Not pig when you're doing runic translations, promise. Right. This is Viv with Woo or View. So yeah, that's one Joe, W or V, general success and recognition of worth. Then Isa, Ice, which is a challenge or frustration, but it reinforces the runes around it. And then we've got one Joe again, which is W or V, sorrow, which in this case means sorrow, alienation, strife, possession of greater forces. Now this could mean either the balance of good and evil, or the idea that ice contrasts to them, or it extenuates them. But I think, considering that it's a butterfly jar, it could be talking about fragility of good and evil. Kind of an on-the-fence perspective of it all. Anyway, moving on to the dragonfly in a jar, we head to, I think, an orc stronghold. And the translations on the dragonfly, when I've stopped faffing about through my inventory, there's a gear, that is, yeah. Okay. Straighten it up. Straighten up, me from the past. There you go. There you go. Okay. This is Nell. Starts with Nauthis, need, constrained to freedom. That's it. That's back again. Then Eowaz, horse or two horses. In this case, it means transportation. Then Lagoose, water or leak. Dreams, the unknown possibilities of loss. By the way, these bits underneath the actual translation are what T-Nod theorised on it, what his interpretation of it overall was. And it does have relevance, funnily enough, because the runes can mean several things depending on how they're positioned or something. I don't entirely know the translation process, I'll be honest. But yeah, here we are in Dushal, an orc stronghold, just know that. in that place on the map. Okay, next up, we are in another place where there's things. Namely, a bug in a jar. So let's crack that baby open and look on the rune, not the hip bone. Okay. Okay, go on, straighten it up. There you go. Right. This is Mni, which is man or mankind, the individual or the human race. Or your effect on the human race, I think. And then we've got Nauthis, need, which is constraint to freedom. Now this was thought to be mankind falling, or a fault of mankind, I think. That's off the top of my head, of course. Now, the location of the moth in a jar, and I recommend you get these, by the way, if you have the game, of course, because it's a really fun little quest and collection mission. It takes you to some interesting places. Yeah. Anyway, moving on to the final bug, the torch bug in a jar. Funnily enough. Now this one, there's many corpses around. I believe it's in the Dusk Glow Lighthouse. And I'm carrying too much from a bug. Amazing. Anyway, oh yeah, I faffed about on the menu a bit here because I lost it. It's actually right at the bottom. So you get to see a few things, like a hip bone and special stones. Yay. Okay. Now the torch bug. Come on, straight. There we go. The torch bug is translated overall as Aini, which is Iwaz, which is yew tree, false goals. Then Iwaz, horse or two horses. Now we've got betrayal, misguidedness, meaning another thing again. Then Hagalaz, hail, which is catastrophe or natural disaster. And we've got Nauthis, need, distress. Now, I'll quickly show the location of the torch bugaroos, and then I'll go into the overall thingy that T-Nod came up with. I can start now. Basically, he thought, or he theorized, that it was a prophecy, or a series of events all about the Thalmor's influence on Skyrim and why they want it all. So the torch bug, it's destruction, betrayal, misguidedness, catastrophe, natural disaster, then distress. Someone blew stuff up, then when they were betrayed and bad things happened, then people got sad. And then we got a dragonfly jar, which is the constraint of freedom, transportation, dreams of the unknown, possibility of loss. The Thalmor, which is a purer race and living longer, consider themselves above all other beings because they're all horrible and yeah, and they basically want to kill everyone so that they can be like gods. And that then brings us to the distress of mankind on the moth jar. And then we can move to the bee jar, which is the force of destruction, control crisis, constraint of freedom, which is the events following the destruction of the 8 towers. I will get into the 8 towers in a minute. That's the really interesting bit. Yeah, and then we've got the Psijic orders being kind of an antithesis to them. Like, they can control time, and the Thalmor want to transcend time. They want to escape the boundaries of it and become like gods, as said before. But the Psijic Order don't like that, and they just kind of want to stop them. So that's kind of the potential good and evil of the butterfly jar. Of course, I said that that's about frailty, and I stick by that, but that's just my interpretation. I'm an English nerd. I could go to town on these things. Yeah, but now we get to the much more interesting bit, in my opinion. We get to the towers. Now, from these translations, T-Nod developed a bigger theory, an overreaching theory, after looking at some books in the game. Now, in the very first book you're presented with in Skyrim, it's about the Dragonborn itself, and it mentions the brass tower walks and time is reshaped, when the thrice blessed fail and the red tower trembles, when the Dragonborn ruler loses his throne and the white tower falls, when the snow tower lies sundered, kingless, bleeding, the world eater wakes and the wheel turns upon the last Dragonborn. Now that is amazingly interesting because it mentions towers. Now think, if you will, the towers being like seals, and when all these seals are broken, mankind are destroyed, potentially bringing back Talos, a mortal who became like a god and who is outlawed by the Thalmor for some reason I can't remember, which is terrible of me, I know. The Thalmor are the pinnacle of evil, and they want to eradicate all man because they can reach heaven. I will quote another book, which T-Nod quoted as well. To kill man is to reach heaven, from where we came before the doom drum's iniquity. When we accomplish this, we can escape the mockery and long shame of the material prison. To achieve this goal, we must 1. Erase the upstart Talos from the mythic. His presence fortifies the wheel of convention and binds our souls to the plane. There you go. 2. Remove man, not just from the world, but from the pattern of possibility, so that the very idea of them can be forgotten and thereby never again repeated. With Talos and 3. With Talos and the Sons of Talos removed, the dragon will become ours to unbind. The world of mortals will be over. The Dragonborn will uncoil his hold on the stagnancy of linear time and move as free serpent again, moving through the aether without measure or burden, spilling time along the innumerable roads we once travelled, and with that we will regain the mantle of the imperishable spirit. What prevents them from doing so are the 8 towers. The Crystal Tower, well, 6 of the towers are gone, I should say. Potentially 7, but that's not necessarily true. Okay, firstly, the Crystal Tower. This is destroyed or deactivated during Oblivion, most likely. It's also referred to as the Crystal-like Lore. The Red Tower is the Heart of Lorcan, which anyone who's played through Morrowind would know. Kind of the heart of a god? Yeah, deactivated now. Now, Tree Sap is in, I can't remember the name of it. I'll mark it on the map on your screen now. But it's in the place where the Bosmer are from, the Tree Elves. And they're sided with the Thalmor, so they would want to deactivate their tower, the Tree Sap, if possible. Orkalk is destroyed, back with Yakuda. White Gold is deactivated. The Amulet of Kings served as the key, and it is no longer active. That's the big tower in the middle of Cyrodiil, I believe. It's on your map. Everything's on your map. The Khajiit Tower, located in elsewhere, is the Khajiit Tower is probably shut down because they're vassals of the Thalmor. And if they are indeed the stone of their own tower, as per the Lunar Lattice, then their tower is also deactivated. And then the most important 2, which are the last 2, the Brass Tower, which is cast out of time because of the Dwemer. The Dwemer were sort of shoved into the ether of non-existence, and along with the Brass Tower, so that's most likely deactivated. And the last one, the last active tower, is Snowthroat, the throat of the world, right in the centre of Skyrim. And that's protected by Parthunax in High Hrothgar and the Greybeards. Now that's interesting. That's why the Thalmor are interested in Skyrim at all. They want to get rid of High Hrothgar and the Snowthroat. Because if they can bring that down, that effectively the last pillar, then they'll be free to unbind the dragon. Mundus will dissolve, which is the plane of existence, and everything within it will cease to exist. Humans, man, and Mer will just be gone. And the Wainen Stones, by the way, is likely to be what binds the Snowthroat. Now that brings us to our next little conspiracy. The Pop-Tart Burner Theory, or the Full Metal Alchemist Theory. Now this is interesting. Pop-Tart Burner is obviously the guy who thought this up, and he noticed that the original translations of the runes to the 5 cities in the top corner, and it made it a circle. Now that circle, Pop-Tart Burner being a Full Metal Alchemist fan, kind of represented the beginnings of a transmutation circle, a human transmutation circle, might I add, which is a big plot point in the anime, but I won't go into it because 1, I don't know much about it, and 2, it's kind of long-winded. Point being, you transmute a bunch of humans, you get a lot of power from it, basically. And the transmutation circle, there's also a pentagon. Now within that circle, if you connect up the 5 cities, you get that pentagon. But Pop-Tart Burner also noticed that on every edge, on the middle part of all of those lines, there was something interesting. There was 4 dragon altars. I won't show videos for the killing dragons, by the way, just because one of them's kind of spoilerish and I don't want to give anything away because it's actually quite awesome. And the final being the Tower Stone, which Pop-Tart Burner predicted to unlock the secrets of the puzzle. Okay, now basically the human transmutation in the anime comes in 5 steps. But before I go into those, I should also point out that in the middle of the pentagon, the transmutation circle, is the Wainen Stones. You'll see those later. Basically, it's a circle of stones, with an altar for Talos and an area for offerings. You'll see why that comes into play soon. But for now, the steps. The first one comes in the Crest of Blood. Basically, just go on a killing spree in each of the 5 cities. Well, so I did. Starting with Dawnstar. There's a few dead bodies. I took killing, genocide, as killing anything with a soul that can be captured. So you'll see a few living NPCs like in the distance over there, and maybe a couple children, because I literally couldn't kill them, and I couldn't get their soul. So yeah, Winterhold was a bit uneventful. I did kill the people in the college as well, but you just see the Jarl walking across there. Funnily enough, when you kill people, their torches stay alight, and I made a penis joke with that guard. You see there's a chicken in between his legs. You see? Yeah. With this one, I just killed a bunch of people, piled them up, and then dumped a load of crap on them, because that's how I respect people. With jewels! Yes. So, yeah. And then I went over to, well, Whiterun, which was quite fun to kill people in, because there was quite a few annoying people here. Also some quite nice people. So, yeah, it was quite difficult, but not impossible, obviously. Finally, we went to Morthal. Kind of sounds like mortal, yeah. Morthal was a bit annoying, because whenever I went outside and killed people, they came back and thought they wanted to kill me, so you'll see, this is a demonstration of people being immortal in this game. They weren't attacking me, but, you know, I'm a douche, so... See, he just falls over. But anyway, let's now talk about that. There's been the 5 genocides. Now the next step is the Inner Pentagon. The dragons must suffice for each point of the Inner Pentagon. Now, let's say, for argument's sake, that I've done this, which I have. I just don't have video for it, because I don't want to spoil things. Then you get the Tower Stone, which unlocks the ability to use the Transmutation Circle. Then, you head to the Wainen Stones, and you place the bugs in the jars in a circle on the altar, placing each bug corresponding to its respective city's location. These will act as your sacrifices. Now, anyone who's played Skyrim knows how notoriously difficult it is to place anything upright just by holding it in the game. But I did it. Not easily, by the way. That's the location of it. Although you've already seen it on the map. But yeah, it's all placed. This is the entire Wainer Stones. Everything's set, and then you have to wait for the promised day when it activates. And yeah, look at that! Look at that! That is quite pretty. I'm really proud of how I got that. It took me a bit, but yeah, you know. Funny thing is, nothing happened. Yeah, funny that. But I can't just say that it's complete bubkus now, although I want to, because obviously a promised day. There's been a lot of debates about the promised day, what it could be, and when it will come and stuff like that. But in my personal critical opinion, I don't think anything's going to happen with any of these conspiracy theories. I'm probably just being cynical and over-critical, but I just don't think it's something Bethesda would do. I mean, it's not unspoken of for them to do crazy, over-the-top things, but I just don't think, personally, that anything's going to happen. Needless to say, though, this was an awesome thing to do, and just really fun to try in general. So I would recommend you try it, even if nothing will happen. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's everything I wanted to cover. So I really hope you enjoyed watching, and you just got schooled by butter. I hope you enjoyed it. And you...
Victory for Solengard! That's all you've got?